First of all, Pierre Poilievre in the last little while, last day or so, including, I guess, today, wants an emergency session to be held in the House of Commons over the, I don't know what, the technical recession that we're in. He was yelling and screaming at the Prime Minister today. But then he also said this.
10 years ago, under the Conservative government of which I was a part, support for separation was zero. In fact, there have only been 3 referendums to separate from Canada, and they've all happened under Liberal governments. When Conservatives are in power, we unite the country. In fact, even in Quebec, 10 years ago under Stephen Harper, the separatist movement was wiped out. Le Parti Québécois and the Bloc Québécois were on their last leg. But 10 years of divide and conquer, a centralist Liberal government that seeks to control everything in Ottawa has reignited those divisions. And Mr. Carney's got to start to take responsibility. He's the Prime Minister.
Yeah, he is. You don't think Pierre Poilievre got the memo that Mark Carney is also the most popular politician in Quebec?
I think, Pierre Poilievre is starting to look and sound very desperate because, once again, Philippe Fournier on Canada 338, his latest projections dated yesterday. I mean, I think the Conservatives are at their lowest point since Pierre Poilievre became leader of the Conservatives in 2022. A few points. The reason why the Liberals have been in power when there have been referendums in Quebec is because the great majority of the time over the last 100 years, the governing party of Canada has been the Liberals. And it is factually completely false. I mean, sovereignty, even 10 years ago, has always been the bare minimum has always been around 30%, regardless of who's in power federally. And also, it's quite something to talk about Stephen Harper's governments and Quebec. Stephen Harper formed a government with 5 seats from Quebec. Think about that. 5. And right now he has barely 10. And so let's calm down now and get back to the facts that actually right now, regardless of what the sovereignist movement in Quebec is talking about with the whole 50+1 kerfuffle, over what's going on in Alberta and the Clarity Act and everything else, the fact is that Quebecers are concerned about one thing and one thing only. It's affordability and the economy. After that, it's healthcare. But federally speaking, Quebecers are right now and have been for many months now and close to a year now, think that the most popular politician, all levels combined, is Mark Carney. So I think, first of all, Pierre Poilievre should start maybe think about why he is actually right now the most unpopular politician in Quebec instead of throwing bricks. So it's a classic glass houses situation here.
I wanted to go on to talk about the Christine Frechette situation, which took a bit of a different tone today. She was speaking at a Montreal Chamber of Commerce and actually, I guess you could call it, made an overture to Anglophones here. She said she's promising to set, quote, a different tone after years of acrimony between the CAQ government and our community. I will point out, I don't know if you heard the statement. We can play it if you need to. David, did you hear what she had to say?
Well, I read what she had to say.
Okay, so the reason I bring this up is because despite what she said, we called her, now that she's trying to set a different tone, to reach out to the Anglophone community. We called her to see if she'd like to express that new tone here on the air. And what were we told, Alice? What did her people say?
Unavailable for the entire week.
Unavailable.
Whole week.
All week, yeah. Oh, well, that's rough. I can't find 5 to 10 minutes in the entire week. But there was time for the victoire, of course, but not for over 1 million English-speaking Quebecers. I get that the victoire is important, but, maybe there's 10 minutes for over 1 million Quebecers. And what now? It's been since 2022 that François Legault didn't speak as well. So, again, over 1 million Quebecers can't get a conversation going with the premier of the province. It's funny. It was during a speech at the Montreal Chamber of Commerce, and, it was about talking about attracting the NATO bank and how, the fact, that there are two major languages spoken in Montreal. It's an advantage to attract investment and to possibly attract a NATO bank. But changing tones, it's not about tone. It's about the fact that the government she is part of has suspended the application of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms on language, on education, has modified the Quebec Charter of Rights and Freedoms so there could not be any legal challenges when this government has attacked individual rights affecting the English-speaking community and their educational institutions. Based on absolutely no tangible data, it has attacked to the two main English-speaking universities in Montreal, which are a major component of attracting outside investment and outside businesses to Montreal. So, I think we're beyond tone now. I think we're beyond tone. So I guess for the English-speaking community, you're good for the business stuff. But, that's for what I'm going to change my tone if I'm Christine Fréchette. But for the rest, we're going to keep, trampling your rights and trampling your institutions.
I'm trying to understand what the point of doing something like that is. I mean, if you were going to double down and say, look, I'm serious when I say this, not just one word or one sentence, whatever, spoken at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, that you would consider actually expounding on that, right? I mean,
the goal is not. With all due respect, you're not the target audience. We're not the target audience.
I guess
she was speaking to Andrew Lutfi. She was speaking to other English-speaking business leaders who have expressed, and I could go on and on and on the list. But the problem is that it's not only English-speaking business leaders in Montreal that they're saying. That are saying this, but everybody in Quebec in business is saying it is impossible to do business in Quebec. And Christine Fréchette knows this. And it's been under François Legault and Christine Fréchette as economic development ministers watch that the business environment, and not only on language, but on everything else, regulations, red tape, you name it, it has become completely impossible. I mean, even last week, look, I have a couple of businesses calling me about the red tape just on commercial signage. It is incredible. I mean, you meet a guy from the OQLF, and depending on his mood, you negotiate what is predominant French on commercial signage. There's no objective criteria. It is completely ridiculous. And so when you're trying to attract outside business, and the competition is ferocious right now to attract business from elsewhere, these things matter. And so what I think Christine Fréchette tried to do, and let's remember, it's not like Montreal is going to go full-on CAQ on October 5th, right? And so what she's trying to do is just try to set a tone, try to set a message, but this was not targeting the English-speaking community, the million-plus English-speaking Quebecers at all.
I will add, David, to your point, it's all well and good to say that, but providing no details. So when you mentioned Andrew Lutfi, I remember the big concern over, some of the policy and trying to keep people here who would not have to then, be shipped back. There were no details in this two sentences that she said, right? This idea of, I'm going to change the tone. And by the way, for people who didn't hear that, here's just a really shortened version of what she said.
I'd like to say a word about the importance of the English-speaking community in Quebec. As the premier of all Quebecers, I hope to bring a different tone.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I hope to bring a different tone.
Not I
that
will.
Means I'm not bringing the new tone. Exactly. I'm not announcing anything. I hope to bring a new tone. So, and this is the same song you got from François Legault. This is the same song you're getting from Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon. It is nothing. It is lip service, pure and simple.
They say words matter. All right, let me get to one other story here, which has to do with today. I'm not sure how big a deal this is or not. The Bloc Québécois MP, Simon Pierre Savard-Tremblay, now he's going to be leaving federal politics to run provincially, making a big point of what? That he's not taking his money like Alexandre Boulerice is?
Yeah, I don't think, I think one of the big things is that these announcements, I think the Bloc is trying to position themselves as earlier than thou, but they're trying again. This is the same thing as Pierre Poilievre. The Bloc Québécois is trying to look at finding its way. They're losing actually members. They had an MP that is left to run for the PQ provincially. They're losing really quite a lot their raison d'être these days, and so I guess that's what they're trying to do with that. But I don't see much more.
Listen, I asked the question today, David, as we wrap up here on this whole idea of Bill 9, the secularism, the extension of that, the secularism law. And now all of a sudden, if you've held a procession here, a rally, whatever, over the years, suddenly between the city and the boroughs, nobody knows what's going on. Will we grant a permit? Won't we grant a permit? Has this created more confusion than anything else?
It's created confusion. It has and it's created uncertainty, and it also creates division. That's what it does. I mean, again, the CQ. Let's remember, this law was born out of what, Aaron? Remember, this was out of the Bedford school scandal.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with what happened at Bedford. Okay, where 10 or 11 teachers who weren't wearing religious symbols, by the way, started doing what we know what they did, and so nothing to do. And now we have a law attacking processions that were not a problem at all. It's creating division. It's contributing to distrust, and it's again creating this vision of Quebec where it is us against them. And if you're different, then you're not part of this vision, this completely absurd vision of what should be a Quebecer. And it's just wrong. And so, again, we are worse off for it. And I really do think that laws like this, and let me be very careful in what I'm saying, but when you have attitudes like this, and you have language like this, and governments acting like this, it creates the type of environment that invites what we saw in Shawinigan over the weekend.
We will leave it at that. David, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
or the free iHeartRadio app.